we're looking at solving two-step equations, although I'm going to tell you already one of your last questions a three-step. But solving two-step inequalities, or equations. This next note that I'm going to put up really applies to the rest of the lessons. It's super important, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over again. So the main goal on these problems, whether you're solving multi-step equations or inequalities, is to isolate the variable. So we're always going to have a variable in these problems, and you want to isolate it. Does anyone know what it means to isolate something? John?
To get it by itself.
Get it all by itself. So in equations, how many sides do we have? Two. So your goal is to get that variable on one side or the other, doesn't matter which one, but to get it all by itself. So isolate the variable, and this is how you do it. By undoing each operation. So really, I can summarize this whole chapter into this statement. Isolate the variable by undoing each operation. That's it. That's all you have to do. And every single problem, if you do this, you will be fine. The hard part is undoing each operation. Mainly because sometimes the operation isn't always that clear. Although you should get practice and get better at it. Are you adding or subtracting? That's multiplication, I think. Wait, no. Division, no. Division. So you got to make sure you know what the operations are so you can undo them. Let's look at our first example then. Nice, clean example here. I like it because it introduces us to how we're working out these problems. Okay, so example 1a, c divided by 4 minus 19 is equal to 17. The way I'm going to put my notes down, and we're doing several problems, by the way, so please follow me as we do them. But the way I'm going to put my notes is not how I actually work it out, it's how I want you to think them through. So I'm going to write some words here on the side that I want you to write in your notes. You don't have to write them in your homework, okay? They're like extra, but they're helping us to think. What's my goal in this problem? Isolate the variable. And how am I going to do that? Undoing each operation. All right, so find the variable. C. It's right here. All right, C is being divided by 4 and subtracted with 19. Everyone okay with that? And that's all on this left side. So 17 is not affecting this left side. Okay. So what I'm going to write here, it's first being divided, and then it's being subtracted. So again, I want you to write this in your notes, but you don't have to do this in your actual homework. But you are thinking through this. Okay, do you guys see that was being divided first, then it's being subtracted next? Do you guys agree with that? Okay, we're going to undo it by going backwards. So I'm going to go this way. I'm going to deal with what? The subtraction first. So it's being subtracted with 19. What undoes subtraction? So I'm going to add 19 to both sides of the equation. Okay, so you see the equation sign? I got to do something to both sides. And you're like, okay, well, what did that do? Well, what's negative 19 plus 19? 0. So you're left with C divided by 4 equals, and then what's 17 plus 19? 36. Okay, and if you didn't know, you could just add up columns, get your 36 there. Okay, so that's how we got that. All right, we got rid of the subtraction. So now what do we have to undo? What undoes division? Multiplication. So I multiply both sides good by 4. I'm always multiplying by whatever it's being divided by here on this left, in this case. So these 4s will cancel each other out. And I get C equals 144. Okay? That's the value of C. Did we isolate the variable? Like, is the variable by itself on one side? Yep. And then here, it's 144. You've solved for that equation, and now you have c equals 144. Okay, what I also want you guys to do, since you really don't have a lot of homework, so you can do this on your homework, is to check this answer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put here check. So that's what I'm doing. Is c really 144? Well, I'm going to put it back in here. 144 divided by 4 minus 19 equals 17. All right, what's 144 divided by 4? 36. And then what's 36 minus 19? Is this a true equation?
Yeah.
Then it checks. If I got 142 and I put it in here, would I get a true equation?
No.
No. No other number but 144 fits. And you can know that.
Do you want us to do it?
Yes, check it. And you could do it like in one step or two steps, but yeah, just show real quick check, because again, there's not a lot of homework tonight. So you should be able to do it and still have time. All right, you guys see that? All right, let's do another one. B, on that same example, negative 3n plus 8 equals negative 7. Okay, what's my goal in this problem? Isolate the variable. How am I going to do that? Undoing each operation. Okay, so I'm looking at here, I see my variable. What's happening to it first? It's being multiplied and then added. Multiply that it's being added with 8. So it's here, it's being multiplied by negative 3 and added with 8. So what do I have to deal with first? Yeah, the addition. And how do I undo addition? So what do I subtract? So subtract 8 from both sides. From both sides. That's key. If you do it from one side, you're not keeping it balanced. And you're not going to get a correct answer. 8 minus 8 is 0. So I'm left with negative 3n equals...
Negative 15.
Good, negative 15. Be careful with those negative signs. I dealt with the addition. So now I have to deal with the multiplication. What undoes multiplication? Division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. Now notice how I do the division. I want you to get used to this. I draw a bar under that and then put the negative 3. Well, that's a fraction. It also represents division. And that makes it clear that the negative 3 and the negative 3 cancel each other out. So be careful with that. I'm left with n equals, well, what's negative 15 divided by negative 3? Positive 5. So is my variable isolated?
Yes.
Okay, so n equals 5. All right, but does it work? Is it really true? Did I really get the right answer? So here I'm going to put negative 3 times 5 plus 8 equals negative 7. So I'll do that separately. What's negative 3 times 5? Negative 15 plus 8? Negative 7. That checks. That's the only number that checks. No other number. Guys okay with that? Okay, so far we've dealt with pretty straightforward. Find the variable, it's being this and then that. Undo it, reverse order. But look at number 6 on page 336. I'll do one more with you, and then I'll have you do one on your own. So number 6. 3 plus t over 2 equals 35. All right, I'm going to call on people, whether you raise your hand or not. What's my main goal in this problem, Emma Grace? Main goal.
To isolate the variable and undo the operation.
Good. Isolate that variable by undoing each operation. All right, what's happening to the variable first, Bella?
The variable, it's being divided.
It's being divided first. Divided. And what's happening to it next, Timothy? It's being added. And the order is important because you want to undo it in reverse order. So how do I deal with the addition, Elizabeth?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't it adding first?
It seems like it, right? But okay, I'm looking at the variable. So you find that variable. And would you add 3 first or would you divide by 2 first? And when you're looking at what order you're undoing, you got to look order of operations. What would you do here first if you had t? You would first divide, then add, right? Order of operations. So now you're going to undo it. How do you undo the addition, Callie? What am I going to subtract, Josie? From which sides, Braden? Both sides. Both sides, again, remember that whole balancing thing where I took a book away from both sides? It keeps it balanced. And that's what we want to do. 3 minus 3 is 0. I'm left with t over 2 equals 32. How do I undo, since we got done addition, how do I undo the division? Sydney? Okay, I'm going to multiply which sides by 2? Jensen? Which sides? Both sides. And this is how I show my multiplication. Or you could do it with the little x, but then these two get canceled. I get t equals 64. Is t isolated? I hope so. Okay, checking it. All right, so again, we're looking at saying, okay, order of operations. When I do 64 divided by 2, what's that? 32. And then I would add 3, and what would I get? That checks. You see it? Okay, I'm going to tell you right now that some problems, you're going to work it out. It's going to be like, oh, this is clean, clear, got it. But your answer was wrong. So I need you to be careful on what operations really are happening and how to undo them. All right, but that's not, well, might not be yet. Hopefully it's not yet. I want you guys to try on your own. What number was this? Number 18, a little bit lower on page 336. Number 18, you do it on your own. And then I'll call on people to tell me what to do first, second, third, all that. Yes, ma'am? You can switch it around, yes, if it's easier to see. Okay, we'll keep it up here. When you get your answer and you have some time, check it. You got to tell me if it's the complete answer or not. And if you have questions, you can ask. Yes, please check it. So your answer should not be in doubt. You either got it right because you checked it, or it's not right because you checked it, it doesn't work. So, what was it, 18? So you put that number that you got here, and see if that number divided by 7 plus 7 equals 19. Okay. So you see if it fits in the original. That'll help you to check it. All right. It was 19 equals 7 plus b over 7. Okay, I'm going to call on people. Michael, first step.
You multiply and add things, so you would subtract 7.
Okay, subtract 7. And Jack, what did I get when I subtracted 7?
You got b over 7 equals 12.
Good. How many of you reversed it? Is that allowed?
Yes.
What property is that? Can I give you a hint?
Flip-flop.
Inverse.
The doctor hits you in the knee. He wants to know if you have
Reflex.
reflex. It's the reflexive property. It just means if A equals B, then B equals A. So that's the reflexive property. I'm fine with it. Next step, Josie. Multiply by 7 where? Both sides. And I get what, Sophie?
84.
B equals 84. How many of you checked it? How many of you know it's correct? So can I ask you this question? Let's say you're doing the same problem. It's odd. We'll call it an odd problem. And the back of the book said 86. So you plug your 84 in. You check it. That can't be it. Who's right?
You.
It's the same problem. They say 86. You say 84. Who's right?
Both.
Really? Look at the problem. Can 86 fit in there?
No.
Who's right? You are. You are right. Sometimes the book makes errors, and I want you to know that you can check yourself and you can know. Like if this were 18 like it is, can you know if it's right or wrong?
Yes.
Yes, you can know just by putting it back in there. That's it. The book makes mistakes. I think it's already made mistakes in your, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's made, Algebra 1 makes a lot, and it's okay. It's made by humans. It happens. And as you know, Mr. A makes mistakes as well. Okay. I'm going to up the intensity a bit. This is the problem where we start getting into algebra, and it starts getting a little bit tougher with what's going on. So if you guys follow me, it's number 20. It's number 20 in that same page, on that same page. And I'm going to work it out like I did the previous problems with the notes. What's happening to C? I want to get it isolated, but what's happening to C? First it's being divided. And then I hear added. Anyone else? Adding? Anyone else?
Subtraction.
Is it? I'm going to go with adding, which is correct. But some may say it's subtraction. Okay, but I'm going to leave it with adding. If there are no more questions, I'll just keep it there. Okay, so what undoes normally addition?
Subtraction.
I'm going to say addition. Wait, time out, hold on. To undo addition, you should
Add it.
add?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we're tempted to do. Okay, if we're adding negative 31, shouldn't we subtract negative 31? I mean, isn't that kind of what we should do? You could do that. But what undoes the negative 31? What gets rid of it? If you add 31 to it. If I add 31 to both sides, I will get rid of negative 31. And that's the whole point. What's negative 31 plus 31? Isn't that what we've been trying to do the whole time? Get it out of the way? And then I have to add these two together. What's negative 3 plus 31? 28. So 28 equals C divided by 6. And then what do I do? So that's the addition. I got rid of that addition by adding. I undid addition by adding. Huh, interesting. Okay, Bella?
You multiply.
By? Where?
Both sides.
Where do I do that?
Oh, on both sides.
Yeah, I like these questions. Who, what, where, when, how, why, because. Okay, like my son asks, Ezra, why because? That's what he asks. Why because? I'm like, I think he means why. Because this. So why because? Because you're undoing the division. Sorry, I don't mean to confuse you, by the way. What's 6 times 28? 168 equals C. Is this the correct answer, though? I don't know.
You should check it.
Yeah, and this is where it's going to be very helpful if you check it. So I got negative 3 equals negative 31 plus 168 over 6. What's 168 over 6?
28.
What is negative 31 plus 28?
Negative 30.
That's the only number that fits, so 168 is the answer for C. Okay? If you were, for example, you're like addition at the beginning, and then you subtract 31 from both sides, what's negative 31 minus 31? It's negative 62. That didn't get rid of it, it just made, you added more to it. So that wouldn't have worked. I hope you can see it. All right, ultimate, final, last problem. You think you can handle it?
Yes.
It's a tough problem I'm going to give you here.
Do we get bonus points if we get it right?
I actually, you know what I put here? I put bonus, but I don't know why. Because I'm not giving anything for it.
Until we get it right.
There's more bonus points.
We should get
already.
one.
More, and more. Okay. How about this? If you get it right without my help, that means you get your final answer without me telling you what it was. It's just, I'm just going to say +2 on your homework. Okay, you get +2. It's something. You're like, Mister, I don't want +2. That's not even enough. Then don't take it. It's okay. I'm okay with that. All right, here's a bonus question. And here's what it is. It's negative D. I'm going to make sure I write it correctly. Negative D minus negative 5 divided by 7 equals 14. Go ahead. No, don't give up. Don't give. Try it. The worst thing you can do is get it wrong.
Oh, crap.
I don't even know where to start.
You do the same thing we did before. You ask yourself, what's happening to D? This is a multi-step problem. It's going to have, some may say 2, I could say 3 steps, but we'll see how you do. Try it out. And you're like, Mr. A, I don't know if I got it right or wrong. Check it. And be honest whether you got it right or wrong. You know, I give the answer, yeah, I got that too, circle. Yeah, just be honest. I trust you guys. Ten more seconds. No.
What?
Sorry. All right. What? Okay. Keep going. Just look at your paper. I want to make this problem easier to start off with. How many of you thought this was complicated? Just up here was complicated. Then make it uncomplicated. Negative D minus negative 5 is also known as negative D plus 5. Isn't that true? So, okay, your stay, change, opposite. Stay, change, opposite. So right here. So that made it a little bit easier. What do I have to undo first? So, Jack.
You have to undo the subtraction.
What's happening to D first? It's being added, then it's being... So what do you have to undo first? The division, which means what do you do to both sides? Multiply by 7. That's my first step. Because these will cancel each other out.
No, I forgot to multiply the other side.
Negative D is negative D plus 5 is... Sorry, I'm writing backwards. What is that, 98?
Yes.
Okay, so I get negative D plus 5 equals 98. What do I do to both sides? What undoes the addition?
You subtract 5.
So you subtract 5 from both sides. You get negative D is equal to 93. But I don't want negative D. I want positive D. What does D equal? If negative D equals 93, then positive D equals negative 93. That's the answer.
I was only 30 off.
Oh.
Yeah, I got that.
Wait, why is it making
All right, I have questions, Jensen.
So why did you do the multiplication first?
Because I have to look. Okay, so I think we got here. I have to look at D. And first, what would you do order of operations?
Attention, please. Girls basketball practice has been canceled for today. You will be practicing tomorrow. I'm sorry. Girls basketball is canceled for today.
Oh, because we have a game tonight for the boys.
Why do you guys sign up for basketball?
I will
if
be.
you don't want to go to the game?
Home game.
Yeah.
Okay, listen up.
It's because they run.
Dude, it's so hard.
Listen up here. I have this. I'm looking at D. And what would I have? Would I divide by 7 first? Or would I add with 5 first? I have to add. Then I divide by 7. So you got to do what's in the numerator first in this case. Then you could divide by 7. So that's why I multiply by 7 first, then subtract 5. Yes.
For both
Possible.
ones?
Yep. Timothy?
Why is it making
Good question. Do you see here how I'm left with negative d equals 93? Like, did you see here? So I have what negative d is. I don't want negative d. I want positive d is negative 93. So it's like both signs switch. Yep.
When it's number 29, so, I don't really, like, when you said do what you do second in the problem, like, don't do what you do first.
Yes. Go opposite order.
Yeah, but, like, why do you do that?
Because you're basically the problem. So the question is, why do you go backwards? Why don't you just go in the same order they do it? It's because you're trying to undo what is already happening. So here, this problem, it's already being added with 5, then divided by 7. So you want to unravel that, work backwards to get d. If you were to, for example, if you were to add 5 to both sides and then divide by 7 both sides, you're going to get some new. You're probably going to get a fraction, which doesn't give you the answer. You're trying to get d. And in order to do that, you got to work backwards, undo what was already happening to it. So it's like a mystery number. Figure it out. Yep.
So say you have a negative number plus a positive number, so the negative and the positive are being added, you do addition to undo that?
Like this,
Yeah.
I would subtract 5.
Okay.
Because what's positive 5 minus 5?
Oh.
It's 0. So that's how you undo it. Okay, your homework tonight. It is tough, guys, but how many of you get isolate the variable by undoing each operation? Okay, how many of you, and most of them are not going to be like this, trust me, they're not. But this was a tough. Did anyone get it? Oh, okay. No bonus points, sorry. Your homework, though, tonight is 13 to 31 odd.
Yay, we already have the answer to one of the problems.
I'm all about second chances.
What was the answer?
You have to show me the work. Yeah, so if you know the answer, you got to show it on this homework paper that you get. Yeah, I'll give you a second chance. Yes, ma'am. Check it. Yes, check it. Check it. You put your answer, whatever you got, put it into the original equation and see if it makes it true. So let me pause this.